Ending Zelensky's period of usurped power and holding elections in Ukraine are integral parts of the process of ending the war, without which it will never end. Never, as long as Zelensky remains in power. The condition of holding elections in Ukraine must be a mandatory of the meeting with Zelensky in the Oval Office.
So, Ukrainian politicians are now vocally turning against Zelensky, right? And so here is a guy named, how do you say his name?
Alexander
Dubinsky.
Okay.
And sounds like an Israeli. Right before he changes his name and then becomes prime minister.
Yeah.
Right? Dubinsky, Milikowski, they all they're very similar. So he says he's a current member of the Ukrainian parliament. Now, he definitely was for sure for a while, and then Zelensky threw him in prison, and now he says he's back in the parliament. And here's his message for Zelensky.
Mr. President Trump, Mr. Secretary Rubio, Mr. Vice President Vance, first of all, allow me to thank you for bringing peace closer to Ukraine. Today, for millions of Ukrainians, is one of the most significant days in life, and we wish you to achieve a result. The hopes of Ukrainians rest solely on you. This is not flattery or empty phrases. Zelensky does not represent the opinion of Ukrainians, as his democratic mandate expired in the spring of 2024. He received it in 2019 under the promise to find common ground with Russia and secure peace. In fact, today it is President Trump who fulfills Zelensky's pre-election promises. Therefore, for Ukraine and Ukrainians, he has 1,000 times more right to be called our president than the self-proclaimed and deceitful Zelensky.
Let's remember what Zelensky's promises were. His promises were a peace candidate. He ran as a peace candidate. He was going to bring peace. So just so you know, okay.
For Ukrainians around the world who wait for peace, the president of Ukraine is Trump. But neither President Trump nor European leaders, and certainly not the self-proclaimed Zelensky, can decide Ukraine's future without Ukrainians. Yet no one has asked us whether we want the continuation of the war, membership in the European Union, or NATO. Instead, this was decided on our behalf by the illegitimate President Zelensky and European leaders, although we never gave them the right to decide for us. This right was simply stolen from us by canceling elections and using punitive measures to forbid speaking about peace. On Monday, Zelensky will again be in the Oval Office, once more pushing the agenda of perpetual war. This performance will continue as long as the U.S. perceives Zelensky as the representative of Ukrainian opinion and tolerates the absence of elections in Ukraine. Clearly, as long as Zelensky and his fraudulent clique remain in power, which they seized in Ukraine, they will do everything to undermine President Trump's peace initiatives and continue the war. Because war equals Zelensky, and Zelensky equals war. And this will continue as long as the U.S. recognizes Zelensky's legitimacy on the international stage without elections. Ending Zelensky's period of usurped power and holding elections in Ukraine are integral parts of the process of ending the war, without which it will never end. Never, as long as Zelensky remains in power. The condition of holding elections in Ukraine must be a mandatory of the meeting with Zelensky in the Oval Office, if, of course, he does not sabotage it again.
So, again, nobody makes a stink out of the fact. They say Putin's a dictator, although they have elections in Russia. They're not having elections in Ukraine. And so what is that? And he outlawed all the opposition news organizations, all the opposition newspapers, radio shows, TV. He outlawed all of them.
Language.
He outlawed the Russian language.
To a huge minority of Russians that live there, like as if you were trying to start something.
So there's a Ukrainian parliament member laying it out for you, turning on Zelensky, saying he's illegitimate. You got to have Trump demand that he step down from power, have an election. I think that's a big deal.
How far-fetched is it, Jimmy, that Trump trades Alaska for Ukraine? Is that crazy? It sounds silly to me, but I heard somebody say it, and I'm like, Trump is the president of Ukraine now. Like, what is this talk?
That's crazy talk. It's funny, but not as funny as my act is going to be in Rutherford, New Jersey, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, Chicago, and Rosemont, Illinois. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. But he had a tweet. He also put together a tweet on this, right? You want to hear the tweet? He says, this is his open letter to President Trump, Secretary Rubio, and Vice President. Before tomorrow's meeting, I address this message. Zelensky does not represent Ukrainians. His democratic mandate expired in 2024. European leaders do not represent Ukrainians. We never elected them. For millions of Ukrainians, President Trump is our true president of Ukraine, far more than Zelensky. I urge that restoring constitutional order and the Ukrainian people's right to have elections. Zelensky hides behind the Constitution to avoid returning Donbass, which he had the chance and time to reintegrate since 2019. Instead, he chose war, canceled elections, and now uses the Constitution as cover. Mr. Trump, we urge you to make the restoration of the electoral process in Ukraine a mandatory condition for any dialogue with the Volodymyr Zelensky and his entourage. Without elections, there will be no peace. Without the restoration of legitimacy, there will be no recovery of Ukraine. We, as elected representatives of the Ukraine people, believe that ending the usurpation of power is an integral part of the peace process you are fighting for today. Sincerely, Alexander Dubinsky. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So nice to say. I think he's. By the way, I think I agree with him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking every moron I know that was on the Love Zelensky for how long, and imbeciles have told me Ukraine's winning right now.
They still say that.
I know multiple imbeciles that will tell you Ukraine is winning. I don't even know. I mean, the level is stupid if you're saying that at this point. What is the hope for you?
There are people who still call ivermectin Horsterwormer, Kurt.
Yeah, no,
it's,
I know.
It's the drug that's that the WHO says is the most important human drug since penicillin. They still call it Horsterwormer because
maybe MS Now will go insurgent on this one and report it.
So that I can't.
MS Now.
I mean, the last, I don't know, the last 10 years have really proved how stupid people can be on purpose and how easy propaganda works. It is
really my whole life. Now that I think about it, every single event was absolutely stupid and not what they said, and you don't find out till 15 to 20 years later. But now they want to wait till 70 years later, and they get court orders to do that.
Yeah.
So you can't know how bad they cocked up for 70 years. I mean, what a joke. This country should be a podcast. It's not a country. It's ridiculous.
Did Mark Maron ever return your tweet?
No, but I didn't look.
Okay.
What was he going to say?
No, nothing. All right. All right, I got one more story. You got to go?
Yeah, I got a spot.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later. Have fun.
All right, bye, guys.
Come see us on tour in Rutherford, New Jersey, New York, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Chicago, Louisville, Kentucky, and Fort Wayne, Indiana. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.